Now, the men's gold saga opened a can of worms in the microfinance industry. Recently, we've heard some customers of some of these microfinance institutions besiege premises of these institutions to demand their investment to be paid to them. Today, on Joy FM on the Super Morning Show, the show is engaging the Director General of the Security and Exchange Commission, Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete, and we're linking so we can join in the conversation.
Operationalize the act, and then you can talk of various directives, guidelines, codes, and so on and so forth that we issue, to give guidance to conduct of activity within the securities industry. Then when you talk about things to do with business combinations like mergers, takeovers, and so on and so forth, again, it comes to the SEC for review and approval. And then also, before you can get into a market issuance, and when I talk about market issuance, I'm talking about either you are raising equity or you are raising funds through a bond, a debt issuance. Again, you need to come to the SEC to the extent that you're going to make an invitation to the public. You must come to the SEC for us to approve the issue that you want to undertake.
Before people invest their monies into your company.
So we check all the boxes to be sure that what you're offering the investing public, conforms or complies with regulations. So again, you can't just get up and make an invitation to the public, to raise either debt or equity. You can do it if you're doing a private. You contact a few friends and family and all of that. But if you have to have a public invitation, you cannot just do that. It's regulated, so you need to come to the SEC.
For the sake of my listeners, when you say debt and equity, what are you saying?
Okay, so when you talk about equity, you're talking about raising funds from the public to become part owners. So let's say a company like maybe a Ghana Commercial Bank or any company can decide they want to raise capital to expand, let's say, our business, rather than, let's say, go for debt. Debt means that you borrow X amount that you pay after a certain period of time at a given interest rate. You want people who become shareholders. So we call it equity.
Okay.
So when you want to raise equity, in other words, you're inviting other people to become shareholders with you, then you do an equity issuance.
Okay.
But then you don't have to do that, and there are a number of companies that may prefer to use debt rather than equity. And debt is, as we understand it, you are borrowing effectively at a given interest rate under some specified terms that you would, after those terms, be obliged to pay back. But equity, you don't pay back.
Okay.
So that's what we mean by the market issuances. Then you can talk about another broad range of activities that we do. That's supervision and then surveillance. Now, when you talk about supervision, we want to ensure that the market is protected from market abuse, things like insider trading, conflict of interest. So we need to keep some surveillance on the securities industry to ensure that market abuse is avoided. Then you can also talk under supervision of the market operators that we have licensed, because it's important to ensure that we monitor their solvency and make sure that they are in the right position. they're in the right position to be able to carry on their business. So we do that supervision. We do on-site and off-site supervision just to be sure that they are okay and they can deliver on the mandate expected by the investing public. Then we also monitor the entire securities industry in terms of surveillance to make sure that we have an orderly, fair, and transparent securities industry. And then another important plank in our function, our term, market development. And, we are very happy to talk about it because we want people to know that we are not just, as a regulatory body interested just in regulating and, if you like, a policeman or a head teacher holding the stick, beating people into line. But we are interested in, the initiatives that will lead to the growth and development of the market. And over the years, we've seen, if we take, for instance, the securities exchanges, currently we have 4 exchanges, or 4 trading platforms.
Okay.
We have the Ghana Stock Exchange, the main board for equities, but we also have the Ghana Alternative Exchange for the SMEs, that's for small, medium-sized enterprises to also come to the market. Then we also have the Ghana Fixed Income Market, and that's for the bond market or debt instruments.
Okay.
And then recently, last year, as I'm sure people would recall, we had the Ghana Commodities Exchange.
Yeah.
And all these represent some development in the market, because if you take 20 years, 25 years, we didn't have that. So market development is also key. And recently, we have even issued the REITs guidelines, to ensure that that line of business also, has that regulatory framework for development. So we do a lot of market development and even investor education and all of that. And then, of course, the Act also requires us to provide some advice on policy on the securities industry to our sector ministry. So you'll find.
So in a nutshell, you've taken us through the 4 main things.
Yes, I mean, I just decided to break it down.
Yes,
just for,
and we appreciate it. We appreciate it. So it's 12 minutes past 8. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete is the one you just heard. He's the Director General for the Securities and Exchange Commission, and we are live on Joy 99.7 FM. We're also live on JoyNews on TV, the AM show to be specific. What Reverend has done is, when we asked him what work the SEC does, he took us through the 4 main aspects: regulation, supervision, surveillance, and market development. I have a text here. I'll just read it for you. Daniel, why is SEC not taking over some of these companies like Bank of Ghana did in order to secure customers' investments? Does your remit cover this?
What I would say is that when one of our market operators has an issue or has some difficulty, we begin a process of, investigation to establish where the problem is, and then we work with the company to see how the issues can be resolved. And there are a number of options for resolution, and one of them is where you would arrange, depending on the situation, arrange for some, if you like, administrator or entity to take over. I think so far we've not had in our experience in the security industry where we've had such a mechanism of appointing a receiver or another entity to take over. But that is an option that can be considered in terms of the number of things that can be done, looking at a particular situation.
At what point will we get to with an institution to decide that this is what must be done?
And the answer to that is it depends. It really depends on what really is the underlying issue or the underlying cause. Because at the end of the day, you're also looking at how can the situation be remedied to achieve the objective of investor protection. So it really depends on, if you like, a case-by-case situation.
So let's take a few cases. On your website, you have listed a number of companies, over 130 companies there. 80 of them are rated gold. 47 of them are in red. Why are these? And 6 companies, we understand, have themselves come voluntarily asked to be shut down. Why are these 47 in red?
Okay, and I think it's good you've asked, because we did that recently, and I think even in social media there was some misconception, and certain people were putting out all kinds of things which are far from the truth. Now, what we have on our website, and we've had on our website the list of all the licensees that we have. So anyone who comes to us meets the conditions, gets the license. So if you go on our website, you have the list of all our licensees. It's been there. And we encourage people that before you do business with any one operating in the securities industry space, go to our website and confirm that that entity is a licensed market operator or has a valid license.
Okay.
Now, what we did, and that's about maybe 6 weeks or 2 months ago, was to provide a little bit of information to the investing public about these, our licensees. Okay. Now, we decided to, because, for investor protection, one of the powerful ways of achieving it is when you make information available. We like to say that a well-informed investor is a well-protected investor.
Okay.
So what we decided to do was to introduce this color coding, and those that have the red color. What the explanation is that these companies, they have valid licenses, because when we revoke or we suspend the license, we will put that out, and when we revoke, we'll take you out of the list. But these companies have valid licenses. However, there are some issues, and there are two broad issues that will make you get that red color code. One is unresolved complaints. We believe that every market operator must have a mechanism to resolve customer complaints. Now, when the market operators fail to resolve those complaints, then those complaints get escalated to the SEC. And so once the complaints have been escalated to the SEC, it means that the market operator has failed to do so.
Okay.
So we get in and we push the market operator, depending on what the customer complaint is, to resolve it. Now, when the complaint is unresolved, we want the investing public to know that this company has some unresolved complaints.
Right.
And then the other category is what we call regulatory issues, something like late, filing of returns, not maintaining a complaints register, and so on and so forth. So the list that we have on our website is a list of market operators who duly hold licenses from the SEC. We did not, and we do not intend for that list to be a list of companies that are safe to do business with or not safe to do business with. All we are saying to the investing public is that these companies that have this red, coloring, they have some unresolved complaints. They have some regulatory issues. As and when the complaints are resolved and the regulatory issues are also resolved, we quickly change the code. And then, there's nothing, they join the goal. And so what we expect this to do is that if, let's say, you are about to transact business with a firm, or you already are a client of a firm, and you find that, let's say, they have, instead of being in the gold, they are in the red, when you go to them, ask questions. What is it that has made you to get that red code on the SEC list, and what are you doing? We are not saying that stop business with those entities. No, that we are just saying that this is information, and then we want more pressure to be on the market operators to resolve the issues, because if their clients are asking them questions and saying that, look, you need to sort this thing out, because I'm not happy that you have this on this list, it will give them more pressure. And I can tell you that after we introduced this color code, a number of the market operators quickly resolved the issues that they had, and they have had the red taking off their name. So it was just an attempt to provide a little bit more information about whether our market operators have unresolved customer complaints or regulatory issues. It's not,
and some have a mix, don't they?
Yes. So I'm saying that, because one of the things, when you're going to deal with a market operator, you must be asking questions. That's what a lot of people do not do. Typically, people just listen to what a friend or what a brother will say. Oh, this thing is good. Oh, I went here and it's working well. But you must ask questions. And we believe that this will help the investing public, to know that maybe their market operator has one issue or the other, that they can put pressure, and once those issues are resolved, then they're happy. So if we have any reason to revoke a license, we will, and we'll publish it, and we'll take it out of the list.
Does it then mean that even for the companies listed red, you have confidence that they can carry on their business without customers having a challenge?
Absolutely. What I'm saying to you is that what we do is to license operators based on their ability to satisfy some requirements. On a continuing basis, we supervise. I mentioned that earlier on. We do on-site and off-site inspections. For some of our on-site inspections, we pick issues, regulatory issues. For instance, I talked about not maintaining a complaints register. So if we pick that up during our off-site review, it will make you get that red until you have established it, and then we come to satisfy ourselves that you have put the complaints register. It doesn't mean that you are going out of business.
But there are some who have complaints from customers, and it's these same customers who are supposed to go back and lodge their funds there.
So when you have a complaint, the mechanism for resolution of the complaint is to come to the SEC to file your complaint. When you file your complaint, we will do an investigation to establish whether your complaint has merit. Now, after the complaint has been investigated, we'll do a hearing as part of the investigation, and then we will get the market operator to have an arrangement, an agreement with you, the complainant, to have your maybe some kind of payment terms, to sort out your issue. Now, if the market operator fails to do so, then you can report to the SEC that they have failed. But then what you can do beyond that is you are empowered now, if you so choose, to pursue your money or your investment with that company using the court system. And because you have already come to the SEC, because take note that the Act requires that if you have any complaint or any issue, you must first come to the SEC for it to be resolved. Now, if you do not exhaust the provisions at the SEC, you could run into some, technical challenges if you want to pursue it in the court system. Okay, so we have that mechanism for resolving complaints. So if you have a complaint, you come and then we go through the process. And I'm just saying that if there are, and let's say a company has come, we've talked, and there has been an arrangement in terms of how a customer is going to be sorted out. Until the company has sorted out the complainant, it means that it is still unresolved. Because at the end of the day, what the customer is looking for is for his money to be paid. So if the company hasn't been fully satisfied, then we don't have a basis to take off the red color. But it doesn't mean that the company is going down, depending on the underlying investment. So it's not a blanket issue to say that if you have this red code, then you are down and out.
You should
and that's why we are saying that it should provoke questioning, and people should ask questions. Ask why. What is the issue? If it's unresolved customer complaints, as in you haven't paid, why is it? What kind of underlying investments have you made? Is it that your funds are locked? You must ask questions to inform you. and for
when
you
you
to
are
make
making that decision.
An informed decision, absolutely.
It's 26 minutes past 8 here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Daniel Daze. Our guest in the studio is Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete. He is the Director General for the Securities and Exchange Commission. What we've done so far is we've established in broad strokes the work of the SEC. A key question that came in was, why is it that what happened in the banking sector with the closure of banks and the takeover has not happened in the capital markets where the SEC regulates? Reverend has explained to us that we haven't gotten to that point yet. But that option, let me just slip this in, that option is available to the SEC, right?
Certainly. If we have, we come to the point where we realize that the company is insolvent or is unable to deliver on its mandate, to protect investors, we'll have to, step in and follow the due process. I just don't want to, and I cannot disclose all the steps that are being taken. I mean, you don't do that when you're a regulator. But I'm just saying that we review the situation. You have a mechanism that you set in motion, and you need to go through some steps.
Okay.
I mean, for what Bank of Ghana did, many people would not know the different steps that they went through and over which period of time. Okay, so I think that that understanding
that's one of the questions
has to be there. Yeah.
I just wanted to get that clarity that option is available to the SEC, and they will take that action as and when by their evaluation they have to. We're going to take these messages and come back. When I come back, we've also looked at the number of companies on their websites and why some are labeled red, some are labeled gold. He has told us that it's because there are regulatory issues and pending complaints from customers. But an action has been taken against Gold Coast Fund Management. When we come back, we'll ask why that action, what has been done, what is next. Your text messages are brought to you by Afrodan. Your back must last you a lifetime, and Glyco Critical Illness Plan, GSEP Glyco, we cushion you for life. Afrodan offers you the most comfortable...